today, and what Bionic Live is going to be is really around interesting findings that we've found in our research and things that you need to think about in your architecture risk for your applications. So with that, this is going to be really short, to the point, hopefully you enjoy. So an interesting finding that I thought I'd share with everybody was something that is around PII data and third parties. So to kind of draw it out, we were able to identify a service within an application, and a service can be a web application, a message broker, a database, but this service was a web application. It had hundreds of upstream APIs, and all this data was flowing into the service. And that was then going out to data flows associated with the downstream. Thinking of this, the interesting thing that we found was one of these areas was connecting into a database, and this database had PII data in it. It's very important to actually understand everywhere your PII data is going, and this was something that's not vulnerable yet, but it is very interesting. And in that database, there was a table called customers, and the customer data was things like DOB, SSN, name, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Still no risk there, nothing really interesting. But the interesting thing that happened was that we noticed that there were critical CVEs associated with this service. Things like data exfiltration, unauthorized disclosure, so on and so forth. So this service was vulnerable. And if you notice, this service is now touching potentially a risky connection to a database with PII data. The thing that really concerned us is that there's a third-party service that then connected to that service that then had a connection all the way through to the database and the PII data. And this was outbound. Thinking about this, now you have a service that is having data come in that has a critical CVE against it. You have outbound traffic. You have a database with customer-facing data that is now potentially, due to those CVEs, able to access data and spend that outbound to a third-party service. This is a major concern and very difficult to find for the normal AST type tooling, because we're not looking at a structured type of vulnerability. We're looking at kind of a building type of issue with outbound, inbound, CVEs, database, PII data, and third parties. This is Bionic Uncensored. This is the first episode. We're going to have a lot more of these to talk about different vulnerabilities that you potentially can find in your application with the Bionic platform.